again, what a beautiful day we have going on here. Let me introduce myself to you if you don't know me. My name is Jewel Ward. I'm the current president of the Washington Historical Society. For those that don't know me, I'm a simple community member that just like you loves Washington. I love living in Washington. I love learning Washington's history, and history connects us to belonging together. So history happens every day, and today this event will be history. Isn't that kind of cute? The Washington Historical Society's mission basically is to keep Washington's memories alive. Our nonprofit consists of a board of directors, and I'm going to have them stand if they're here. It would be Jennifer Essick,
Standing.
Sue Freeberg, Judy Gross, John Stromberger. Oh, hey John. Pat Wagner, Kit Zingerser, and our newest board member is Jean Montgomery. All right, well thank you all for all the help that you do, because without you we wouldn't be able to do that. So you might wonder who we direct. Well, we have one employee and one employee only. Her name is Melissa Heyl. She does a fabulous job for us. She keeps us connected in the community, and she helps like schedule trunks and treasures into the classrooms. She helps us with archiving, preserving photos, helping at our headquarters, and doing fundraisers and events. So if we didn't have Melissa, I don't know what we would do. So Melissa, I hope you're sticking around for a while.
Aw, thanks.
So, right now I'd like to take the opportunity to invite all of you that are not Historical Society members to become Historical Society members. I know there's a rumor that you have to have been born and raised in Washington to be member. That is incorrect. Anybody can be a member for the Washington Historical Society, and I was not born and raised in Washington, and I enjoyed being part of the organization. John and Sharon Amdahl have membership forms in the back if you'd like to get them, along with some bicentennial information that's coming up for next year. Be happy to help get that information out to you if you would like to join us. We'd love for you to join. And those that are members, thank you, because without you we couldn't do anything, because basically we're self-supported by donations and membership. So please see John and Sharon if you can. Okay, a little background about today. The sculpture is why we're here today. The private donors and members, John and Sharon Amdahl, who are our rock stars today, they approached us several years ago to the Historical Society with an idea of commissioning a bronze sculpture that Washington could give as a gift to the Washington community for the bicentennial in 2025. So those of you who don't know, 2025 is next year, and we're having a huge celebration for the bicentennial. We've been working on it for many years, so keep your calendar open, because we've got a lot of events coming up that you're not going to want to miss. After they decided we should probably try to make a bronze sculpture, we decided to work with artist Jackie Willis, and Jackie is a well-known and known for her artwork and beautiful bronze sculptures. She's a professor at Bradley University, and she's done many bronze sculptures in Central Illinois. Jackie, you want to stand up and we can give you a round of applause. Without your insight, we wouldn't have the beautiful sculpture that we do today. I only have 5 more pages here, so just relax. So then the logistics happened, and it fell into place. So one of the biggest hurdles that the Historical Society had was, what do you pick for one thing for 200 years? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things you can pick. So we kind of went back and forth, but after much deliberation, we decided to honor the Heyl Pony Farm and the history in Washington for many reasons, and I'll give you a couple of those reasons. The Pony Farm was a big deal back in its heyday in 1920s and 1930s. And the Heyl ponies were recognized internationally as being the best of the best of the best of the best. And I don't know if you can get better than that. As you remember, the Heyl Pony Farm, some of you may remember. Now, I didn't remember because I didn't grow up in Washington, remember. So they used to lend out their ponies to local residents in the summer. And this was for a couple of reasons. Everybody wanted a pony, right? Plus they got fresh grass to eat. And they got probably better care because it was one-on-one with individual homeowners. So they enjoyed a small pony for a while, and we really loved the idea of remembering that unique piece of time in our history of Washington. So then became the next problem, finding a place to put this sculpture. It's a beautiful sculpture, but it was a challenge. After driving around, walking and looking at different spots, and we're like, where can we put this? Where are people going to enjoy it? It ended up being absolutely perfect in this spot right here, because little do you know, this at one time was part of the Heyl Pony Farm grazing area. So this pony that's depicted today possibly could have been eating grass right underneath your seat. Or it could have been doing something else, but I hope we won't get into that. So this area is perfect. So when children, when they get dropped off, they run to the playground, they're going to stop by this pony first and maybe learn a little bit of history and get that connection to our community. So that's another reason why we wanted to pick this spot. And it's a beautiful spot. So the sculpture is called The Act of Giving. And it is fitting because in so many ways the Heyl pony was giving to the community. The little girl in the sculpture that you're going to see shortly is giving an apple to the horse or pony as a present, and it's a gift. And then the Washington Historical Society giving the sculpture to the community for all of us to enjoy for many, many, many years. So I'm going to invite John and Sharon Amdahl up here, and they're going to come and we're going to get to see it, the official unveiling for the first time. And you can have as many oohs and ahs as you want and claps that we can take today. And especially to our wonderful donors, John and Sharon Amdahl, because if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have happened for all of us to enjoy. So we super appreciate you, and you two are the rock stars, at least for me today. Thank you again, John and Sharon. So before I turn this over to our program person, archivist, John Stromberger, I have a challenge for you myself today. And this isn't part of my script, so I hope I'm not going to get in trouble by my board of directors. But the sculpture is titled The Act of Giving, and so I would like to challenge each of you to use your gifts and talents to give back to Washington. So what personally can you do to make Washington a better place by giving? And then a good time to do that would probably be in the bicentennial year, 2025. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about what you might be able to do to give back to our community. So at this time I'm going to turn it over to John Stromberger, and then he's going to have a program about the history of the ponies.
I'm a teacher, but I normally don't teach on Sundays.
Outdoor voice.
Outdoor voice. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just want to share some information that shows how important Heyl Pony Farm was to Washington, but to the entire equestrian world, not just Washington. George Heyl married Sarah Blumenshine in 1891, which actually, on a personal note, makes me related to the Heyls. Distantly, so distantly in fact that we're 12th cousins. My family's 12th cousins to the Heyls. So I thought that was interesting. When George Heyl started his farm here, he dealt with poultry, swine, different types of things. And as early as 1893, he was winning awards for all those different types of livestock. His father had a farm near Manitou and owned Percheron horses. That was a very strong horse. And at one point, George here wanted to order some Percheron horses. And the deal was he could buy some Percheron horses up in Wisconsin, I believe it was, but he had to take 10 Shetland ponies with him, kind of as a throwaway in the deal. Well, he took the 10 Shetland ponies and ended up really enjoying that more than the Percheron horses. They were cheaper to feed, they sold better, and the Percherons didn't last very long. And neither did the poultry or the swine. They were all phased out, and at some point it was all ponies, and hence became the Heyl Pony Farm. The sculpture was created from the exact measurements of a pony named King Larigot, the most famous pony that the Heyl Pony Farm ever raised. Larigot was called America's most famous Shetland pony. By 1910, King Larigot was winning almost every show he entered throughout the country and attained worldwide notoriety. Probably King Larigot is the most famous athlete to come from Washington. The king was born in 1907, and when he came of age, immediately became a champion, including grand champion at the 1915 World's Fair in San Francisco. a writer from the San Francisco Examiner gave this report about King Larigo, and I'll go ahead and quote this. The greatest value the owner places on this pony is that he can produce champions. Their firm has filled every class at this great fair with the get of King Larigo, and the list of winnings will prove to you the value of this great stallion. The junior and reserve championships went to the sons of King Larigo, and also the senior and junior champion mare. Both reserve champions were sired by King Larigo. This is the most wonderful record. In the writer's mind, this has never before been equaled in the world by any breeder or any breed of horses. And I think what we see here is, as when this started to happen with King Larigo, Washington, Illinois was in the papers all over the country. And I think we saw this recently with the tornado. If you talk to people from outside of here, you say from Washington, Illinois, oh, they had a tornado. Well, 100 years before that, it was Washington, Illinois. That's where the Heyl Pony Farm is. That's where King Larigo is from. In 1917, the Heyls sold King Larigo to a horse dealer out on the East Coast named Jim Brady for $10,000. And if you equate that to today's money, that's $250,000. Brady died in 1921, and the Heyls got Larigo back and started showing him again and winning more championships for a couple more years, and then retired him to stud, where obviously more, when Larigo would father more foals, more champions, on and on and on. Larigo was very good out to stud. When Larigo died in 1929, he was buried under the stall in the barn where he was born, right over there, leaving a legacy of almost 200 colts fathered and almost 900 first place ribbons won. Now, back when the whole Heyl Pony Farm was existing and a living, breathing entity, hundreds of ponies, land was needed for these ponies. And as Jewel mentioned, King Larigo might have grazed right here. This entire area was Heyl land, including where the school is, and this entire park, all the way over to Babcock Field. So basically everything from, if you remember where the old railroad tracks were, all the way over to Wilmore Road, from Devonshire to Highland Park, that's Highland Park subdivision over there. This whole open area was Heyl land, and that's where the ponies were able to graze. It was eventually sold as the first purchase by the brand new Washington Park District in 1969. Something I found interesting. There was a 1 month span in 1969 where you had the moon landing, Woodstock, and the Manson murders. And this land was purchased by the Washington Park District. So it was quite a month. I don't remember it, but I'm sure some of you do. Lincoln School was built in 1949, so that was kind of the first chunk that was taken off. And then Washington High School bought that property over there in 1959. Heyl had originally bought that land from George Baylor. Some of you remember the whole Baylor House kerfuffle over there with the high school. That's where that came from, because George Baylor owned that for his Jersey Lawn stock farm that he had long before Heyl. There was another pasture that Heyl used. He owned a small pasture where Steeplechase subdivision is now, south of Hillcrest, and that's because they had 2 steeplechase races over there in the 40s that brought thousands of people down there, and that's why that's named Steeplechase subdivision, Steeplechase Estates. After George's death in 1932, Harley and Iona, his children, took over. There was a pony called Creation's King. There was a Hackney pony. They had given up the Shetlands by that point and moved to the Hackneys. Creation's King was born in a boxcar on the way to be delivered to the Heyls, and he became another champion as well. After Harley's death in '57, Iona kept running things, and then in October '65, she decided to end things, and there was a humongous auction at the Heyl property of hundreds of ponies, whatever else. There was a band, there was a food tent, it was a big party, traffic control, and then Iona continued to live on the property until her death in 1986 at the age of 92. So, the naming of the Steeplechase subdivision, the beautiful Heyl Pony Farm property that's been beautifully maintained, and now this statue continue to serve as reminders to Washingtonians as to the importance of Heyl Pony Farm in the city of Washington. Congratulations to the Heyl family for this honor, to the Washington Park District for this beautification opportunity, and to the Washington Historical Society and John and Sharon Amdahl for once again bringing Washington's past to its present.
Thank you, John, for that very interesting history. Some of us who did not grow up in Washington don't know all that. Okay, louder. Outdoor voice. I'm Sue Freeberg, Program Chair, and when I put a notice on Facebook and some emails out, I did get several responses after I asked who could tell stories about the Heyl Pony Farm. So today we have a few people with us. Each person's only going to talk about 5 minutes, but they're going to tell about their memories or their family's connection. And we have Dave Roth and Jill and Bob Montgomery. Is Teresa Bayer in the audience? Okay. Her grandfather was Lyle Hartman, who worked for the Heyls, and I thought she was going to be here, but I guess not. And then I think Wally and Marv and anybody else who has a story, a memory, after these people talk, we'd love to hear you share your memory also. Okay, Dave, you're going to have to hold that close to your mouth.
I am David Heyl Roth, and my mom was Lorna Heyl Roth, and Harley Heyl was her dad, and George Heyl was her grandpa, and of course that would make him my great grandpa and Harley my grandfather. They had both passed away before I was born, so my stories all come from other people. First, I'd like to thank everybody involved in this statue. It's a great tribute to the Heyl Pony Farm and our family. So I want to thank everybody for that. Everybody that was involved. It's beautiful. I don't have a lot of stories to tell. I basically wanted to get up here and thank everyone for coming. Thank everybody for what they've done here. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you very much.
Bob Montgomery, and I'm not family, but we got in the pony business when I was about 2 years old. And the first time that I met Heyl was Iona Heyl, and my mom, Beulah Smith Montgomery, drove me over. And I was about 4 years old. And I thought this was a cool place, and the house was huge, and we talked probably 30 minutes, and I was not in grade school. My sisters, being older, were already in school, so my mom would take me along, and then we would continue to visit her, and I don't know how many times, but it was always nice to do that. And then our connection with the pony is my dad and mom got into the pony business, and I think a Heyl Pony Farm probably got a lot of people into ponies. They shared their ponies with others, I think, way back when, but we actually officially got into the pony business, and our Pony View Farm was the name of our farm. Definitely not as famous as the Heyl Pony Farm, and we never sold a pony for that kind of money either. But when I was young, we were always going to different shows every weekend, and I think it was all because of the Heyl Pony Farm that we got involved in it. And I think also my family, whether it was my Uncle Shelby Smith or my dad Alvin Montgomery, probably worked at the Heyl Pony Farm when they were in high school. And some of the local people there, and they got to know each other and so forth. And so I think it's, we've been close. We knew Lyle Hartman. We knew him very well. I must say my family, my nephew is a horse trainer over in Des Moines. And so it's my sister Sue's son, so I think the legacy of ponies and horses continue on. We also, which is kind of interesting, after we got out of the pony business, as far as we probably had 20 or 25 ponies at one time out north of Washington, well, we decided to plant more corn, so we needed some space for the ponies that we had left over. And so, and I was in probably 7th or 8th grade, and so we actually either rented space or they just gave it to us free. We took our ponies down to the Heyl Pony Farm, and so we went every day to feed them, to train them. We continued to show them in different fairs and so forth. And so I have fond days of being on the Heyl Pony Farm, except when it was July and it was 90 degrees and I was cleaning the pony stalls. Not the most favorite thing to do. So, but that's kind of the history, and we were there till about 1974. And again, that's kind of our connection with the Heyl Pony Farm. And I want to close with something I just read on Facebook about an hour ago. It's the Saddlebred Spotlight, and hopefully I can read it. It's a horse magazine, and it's called Legends and Memories, and it was posted August 28th, so just a month ago, or not even a month ago. Creation King, Brown Stallion, foaled 1939. Owner, Heyl Pony Farm, Washington, Illinois. From 1947, first prize winner of both championships, in harness and in hand, at the National Stallion Show at Waterloo, Iowa. Pronounced by leading horsemen to be the greatest Hackney show pony in the country. And this would be a cobtail horse, and I've got a picture of it if anybody wants to see it, but the Heyls also, besides ponies, showed what's called the cobtail Hackney, and they were very famous for those also. So thank you very much.
You have that one? Can you hear me without a microphone? Or not?
Yeah.
All right, I'm better just without. All right. Well, my name is Wally Green. I used to live here in Washington. I lived at 125 North Main. It was Dr. Wood's old doctor's office. Next door was his house, and the person that lived there was a good friend of mine, Floyd Asbell, who happened to be the local garbage man for Pickup Incorporated. And when Iona died, stuff was set to the curb, and he brought it to his house and was showing me all the stuff he had. He had medallions from the 1893 World's Fair, gold and silver, all sorts of medallions through all the years that was mentioned, Illinois State Fair and everything. Well, he ended up moving, and he moved to Iowa. Well, when he moved, the landlord that owned the house had to clean it up. The landlord said he probably kept more than he threw away. And when the landlord started throwing stuff away, they pulled a dump truck up and they were throwing stuff out the window, the second story of that house. Well, I asked him if I could go through it and look around, thinking that there was something left. And I looked around for about an hour, and I was fortunate to find 2 printer blocks from the Heyl Pony Farm catalog. One of them shows Harvey Heilman on his, I don't know what his little wagon or whatever he invented there at the farm with Sweet Melody, and this, and here's another horse that appears on the catalog as well. And I just brought him, I thought there was going to be exhibit and put him in there, but I was told wrong, and I was told I could speak. Well, I wasn't prepared, but this is best I could do. But thank you for allowing me to tell you about the story. Jerry, you
Yes,
still
sir.
get these wherever you are. Let me know. All right, Jerry.
Jerry, do you have any stories to tell about living on the property?
I just love it.
I didn't forget you. I lost your phone number.
Yeah, it's been a while, about a year ago, so you stopped
I
saying
know.
me.
I
appreciate this.
I didn't want you to think, oh no, he's going to give them away.
No, I appreciate
Mark,
it.
Newkirk, did you have
Seeing you.
Good to see you all.
Mark Newkirk's going to share a story.
Terry. He owns the old Heyl Pony.
Hello,
He owns
everybody.
the building.
My name is Barbara Newkirk. I've lived in Washington my entire life. I was born in the hospital that they had back in '47. And when I was about 11 or 12 years old, I got a job with Heyl mowing the grass around the house. It was a big $3 deal, and I got to buy a lot of good soda out of that. Thank you very much.
Anybody else who can share a memory or anything you've heard or learned from living in Washington as long as you have? Anybody else have any information to share? So the Grebners live on the farm now, and we're always happy to drive by and see the barn still says Heyl Pony Farm. Thank you for doing that. Well, thank you all for coming. I think this has really been special for Washington. I am not from Washington, but I've been here since the 70s, so it's my hometown now. And we Historical Society members do not have name tags like some churches do, but like some churches, when we have visitors and people we've never seen before, we're thrilled, and we hope that some of you will become supporters. We hesitate to use the word members because that makes people think they have to come to meetings. We do not have regular meetings. We just need your support to continue to do these kinds of things to preserve Washington history. So we have a website, and John and Sharon Amdahl have membership cards and a sample of the newsletter, and we're all happy you're here now, and we hope you come back, and if a lot of you come back, maybe we'll need name tags. Thank you.